All right, we're on.
Huh? Yeah, I see the video. Mommy and Daddy's doing the video. Yeah. All right.
So I'm sitting here looking like Darth Riderus.
House of X, number 2.
Yeah. Do you want to start or shall I?
Well, you go ahead. Well, first, okay, look.
I think she has questions.
I like the quote that Apocalypse said, or that's in the book. Yes.
On the very first page.
On the very first page. Actually, technically not the first page, because the first page is covered. But whatever. If you can find it in you to survive, if you are worthy, then I will make you into something more than them, something eternal. I don't know. I opened the book and I read that, and I was, I just thought that was pretty cool. Now, I don't know much about Apocalypse besides.
He's a bad guy.
Okay, you say he's a bad guy. You say he tries to do what? Destroy the world or the humans, or what?
No, he feels like Apocalypse is all about survival of the fittest. So what he does is he takes mutants and he makes them even more powerful, and then they go about trying to enslave the humans. And they're constantly in
I don't know all about trying to enslave humans, but I'm all
X-Men.
for survival of the fittest. But anyway, I just thought that was a cool quote to open the book up with. That's all. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so like I said, shall I begin or shall you?
I said go ahead. Okay,
Okay.
I'm trying to flip through this thing and get the. Your thing is different
All right.
than mine.
All right, so basically,
How come it's my turn? Okay.
all right, so basically it's like this. All I really have to say is that I like what Hickman has been doing. Like with each issue, he has something that's deep and compelling. With House of X number 1, we were introduced to the whole concept of the X-Men trying to go off and do their own thing on this island. In Powers of X number 1, we were introduced to the concept of a war that comes as a result of their actions between man, mutant, and machine. And now in House of X number 2, we're introduced to a character that we've seen before many times, but she's been lame, really boring character. And Hickman actually makes her interesting, and I'm referring to Moira McTaggart.
Well, I don't read the books. I haven't read the books before, so I don't know anything about Moira except for the House, or is it Powers of X? Except for Powers of X issue 1 when they introduced her.
Yeah.
And she came and sat down and talked
Spoke
to Xavier.
with Xavier. Yeah.
And
And now that
told
means
me
so
she
much
was his
more.
Baby mama. So
Yeah,
I was
it
like,
means
all right.
so much more.
Now
though.
I understand why she was in the other book.
Yeah, it means so much more now that once you read House of X number 2, because major spoilers coming up. Now, if you haven't read it, just stop it right now, because this
If
is
you haven't read it, you shouldn't even be on this.
right, because this
page.
is major spoilers coming up. So I'm just gonna take a few minutes to let y'all get off. So
Man, please just keep on going.
stop it right now, though. I'm
Look,
serious.
You shouldn't even look, don't be on no video that's talking about reviews of books, movies, plays, etc.
can't
If you
tell
haven't
people
looked
that?
at it. So what? I'm
Anyway,
just
big
saying.
spoilers coming. Big spoiler alert.
They gonna be talking
Huge
about
spoiler
spoilers.
alert. But Hickman reveals after all this time that Moira is actually a mutant. And we've never seen this before. So now...
yeah, because when I asked you, I was like, who was Moira or whatever, you was like, oh, she's not a mutant, she don't have any powers. I was like, you'll see.
Yeah,
I read the book before he did.
Yeah, imagine that. So, so Moira's actually a mutant, and she has this really interesting ability.
I like
her
power.
Like I said, it actually makes her cool. Whereas she's been lame. I want to be Darth Riderus, Darth Reviewers.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, it makes her really cool though, because now she's her mutant power is essentially she can reincarnate. She comes back to life. She repeats the same life over and over again, but she can make different choices.
So she comes back, as a baby, but she also has the
Retains
knowledge of
her
the
memories.
previous life that she has. So I think that's pretty cool. That whenever she dies, she comes back as a baby, and she has memories of her previous life. Although I'll be kind of a little bit irritated that I got to go through life all over again.
But she said it was blissful when they showed her in their womb and stuff. She said that you would think that it would make you crazy.
But she talked about how she had to pretend not to have this knowledge. And she learned that if she did the same thing, she would have the same outcome. But if she did something different, then she can change the world or change the outcome or the circumstances. But yeah. I understand. I'll be kind of irritated. Okay, I done lived 10, 15, or 7 lives. And now I have to each time pretend like I don't have this information. At least while she was a kid or something, I'm assuming.
But there is another factor involved here, and
Yes.
that is Mystique and Destiny.
I know that was cool when they showed up.
Mystique and Destiny, they actually encountered Mora on her second or third life. I think it was the third life. They encountered Mora, and Destiny, of course, Destiny is a mutant who can see the future. But not only that, but apparently her power allowed her to see that Mora was able to have like these different timelines as a result of her. She was able to see what Mora was capable of doing,
Yeah.
and she was able to actually predict what was going to happen with Mora, which was really cool. And she also brought to light that Mora can only do this a certain amount of time. She also told her that this is not an indefinite ability that she
Like
has.
she doesn't, yeah. She told her that basically that she only sees how many lives for her.
She said she can do it 10 times,
10 times.
11 if she does like something right, or she didn't really go into details. But she said 10, possibly 11 lives.
Yeah.
So
and Mora was like, I don't believe you. How do I know this true or not? And she explained to her that the way that she can die and not come back again is just basically if she died in the womb.
well, if she died before her powers came to
Before her powers
fruition,
kicked in,
as
yes.
as a, you know, because everyone knows mutant powers generally kick in during puberty.
Yeah.
So if she was
I
killed
know.
before she becomes a teenager in one of her lives, that's it. She's done. So essentially, what happened was in this third life or whatever that she was in, she created a mutant cure, and Mystique and Destiny, while they were, I'm assuming that at this time they were with the Brotherhood or with Freedom Force or something like that, one of those various bad mutant groups or whatever. They told her that, hey, if you ever do something like this again, if we see that you're doing something like that, we'll come and we'll kill you again. Because Destiny can kind of like see, like, you know, what she's doing and what she's speaking and what she's planning.
She told
and
Mora
stuff.
that the cure that she invented will basically be used against them to wipe out mutants.
So she said essentially they couldn't allow her to do that. So what they ended up doing was actually
I thought this
having
was pretty cool.
they actually had Pyro set her on fire, do so
and do
slowly.
It slowly so she can remember the burn and how it felt to die that way. I thought that was cool. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that, I was like, "That's messed up," but it was kind of cool.
Cool and cruel at the same time.
Yes, I was like, "Wow, that's messed up," but I was
Sadistic.
laughing at it.
So essentially, what happens is that she continues to go through these different lives, and she tries out different things. Like one time in one life, she goes and she aligns herself with Magneto. In another timeline, she goes and she eliminates everyone that has to do with Bolivar Trask because with the Trask family line, because she's trying to eliminate the creation of the Sentinels. But she found out that even if she did that, someone else would just come and create the Sentinels. Then after that, she tried to align herself with Apocalypse. She did all these different things until finally she's down to the 10th life. She's down to her 10th life. And on this time, she basically says, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to go straight to Xavier before he's ever met me. I'm going to let him read my mind. He's going to know everything. And that essentially is what leads up.
That's why she went there. Okay, because I remember before she met Xavier, you know, a few times. And one time she died trying to go meet him, and the other time,
yeah, and they
got married, they had kids.
Yeah, and they had Legion or whatever. Yeah, we went through all that.
And one of the timelines, they even killed Xavier. I was like, wow.
Yeah, they did. I think that was probably when.
And Magneto.
Yeah, that was probably when she aligned herself with Apocalypse. But it's interesting because this opens up a whole new can of worms, because it's like, okay, was House of M like one of her lives, or was Age of Apocalypse one of her, you know, it brings up this whole interesting dynamic or whatever. But I think I'm just going like too far in. But it was really cool. They, like I said, they made this really lame character into something that's really, really cool now. And so what she does is on this 10th, she just goes for broke. And it's like she goes and meets up with Xavier while he's still in college, while they're both like at Oxford. And she basically says, hey, you know what? I know you. And he's like, do I know you? And she's like, yeah, come on, read my mind. And then he reads her mind. And that's what leads to him doing what he's doing now, as far as like with the X-Men setting up the art and all that stuff. It's along this timeline that she's doing something totally different. And as a result, it's created this that we know leads to the man-mutant machine war. We know that basically from Powers of X, number one. But it's interesting to see this dynamic and see that this is where it's going. So I do recommend that you read it. It's a fun read. I still kind of like House of X #1 a little more, but it's right there.
Yeah,
it's like
I
it's
think
right there.
both
It's
very
neck and
good
neck.
issues,
It's
yeah.
very good issues.
Yeah.
Like House of X series is looking to be really good. Powers of X. Hopefully the next issue will be better than the first. Although now after reading House of X #2, I understand Powers of X a little bit more. So, who knows? Well, Powers of X #2 is going to come out next week, so we'll be able to let you know from that point what we think about it. Do you have any other thoughts on it? Because I know I'm just kind of running my mouth here.
So she went straight to Xavier when he was in college. That's why he was like,
who are you? He didn't know who she was.
And she said, okay. Because I
read
didn't
my
read the
mind.
comments before, so this is my first Powers of X, and I was like, okay, well, who is this person, and why is she significant in this book? And you said she was a baby mom, and I'm like, all right, but
And now, but see, after you read
But I was like,
House
well, why
of X
does he
#2,
not know her? But now I know why. It's because she went to go meet him, before I guess they were officially supposed to meet in
Our son
her
wants
other
to join.
lives or something.
our son wants to join the X-Men. That's why he keeps coming over here. So I think that's pretty much it for me. I mean, it was a pretty simple. Well,
It said, and in Moira's 10th life, she decided, okay, my eyes are a little bit bad. I don't have my glasses on. And in Moira's 10th life, she decided, shut up. She decided she and Charles Xavier would break all the rules. So, I'm a rule breaker. So that,
boy.
what? I don't like to go with the grain. I like to go against the grains. I don't like just the, well, you know how I am. I'm just like, look, I'm a rule breaker. I don't break rules just to break the rules, but some rules need to be broken. But anyway, I'm just like, okay, anybody that's going against the grain, that's just taking their own path, I appreciate that. That's all I'm saying.
So that's
and then in the womb, when they said that she had like this little sinister look as a baby on her face, I was like, oh yeah.
So it remains to be seen if she's gonna have an 11th life or not. So we'll see what happens. But
now I'm kind of curious of what's gonna happen in Powers of X since they introduced Moira.
Yeah.
Now I know.
So it's interesting. The way that Jonathan Hickman did it, like I said, is interesting. I mean, maybe there have been some closet fans of Moira out there, but personally, I haven't met any. She's just, to me, is just universally lame. But now she's much better, and Hickman he did an all-star job of making her into a relevant character, in my opinion.
Also, in her 9th life, she got with Apocalypse. I'm just going through, so it's her 9th life.
The one right before this one.
Yeah, in her 9th life, she got with Apocalypse. They ended up killing him, right, or something? Something happened.
I don't remember.
I don't remember. But I think there was a war, whatever. I think he ended up.
And there's this really cool part in the book where you get like this whole thing
breakdown
a whole breakdown
of all her lives and what happened at different points.
It's like a flow chart
how she died and stuff.
Yeah, it's like a little flow chart. It's pretty cool. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked it. It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job.
That's where we are now, and we will see you next time. As far as a rating for this one, I would give it also an 8, just like I gave House of X #1. I would give this one an 8 as well.
Yeah, you know what? I say #1, I give it a 9, and this one I give an 8.
Okay, I give them both 8s, or maybe maybe House of X #1 get an 8+. How about that?
Okay, 8 plus. It's either 8 or 9. Which one?
8.5, 8.5.
No, okay.
8.5 and 8.
Yeah.
How you gonna tell me what my ratings have to be?
I just told you. I'm not saying what your ratings have to be. I'm just saying, look.
Why you got my balls?
It's like getting a B.
Give me my balls. Give me my balls.
It's like getting a B+ on a test. It's like, dude. Elijah, okay. It's like getting a B+ on a test. It's like, dude, really, you gonna give me B+? Either it's a B or just give me the A.
Now we're getting off topic.
Okay, I understand that, but I'm just saying, you and your 8.5.
Okay.
Like, dude, just round up and give it a 9.
Thank you for coming out. God bless you. Good night.
Shut up. Don't be stealing my line from Russell Simmons.